This is peak laptop. Everything you do feels high-end on this machine. Everything just feels good. Hey y'all, welcome back to the channel. Tonight, we've got a good one. You guys have been waiting for this one. This is my live impressions of the M5 Pro MacBook Pro. This is a machine I've been using for about a month now. Basically, right after it released, I ordered it because I was in really deep need of a new MacBook. My M2 MacBook Air was just not cutting it. I needed to upgrade. So this is the machine that I went for. I'll tell you why. I'll tell you all the things I've enjoyed about using this over the past month, how it's held up day-to-day use, all that good stuff. This would be a good deep dive video if you're interested in picking up this machine. And with the machine this special, we're gonna have to stand up. It's just too big and too exciting to sit down. So if you guys wanna go ahead and stand up with me at home, feel free. If not, go ahead and sit your ass down, grab a snack. M5 Pro MacBook Pro, let's talk specs. Now, I went for the Pro specifically because I could not justify the price difference between the Pro machines and the Max machines. The Max was a little bit too much for my needs at this point. Let's be honest, if you spend a few minutes on Reddit, you will think that everybody and their mother is getting an N5 Max with 128 gigs of RAM and 8 terabytes of storage. Because you just see post after post of people saying, oh, I purchased it. One, a lot of people are lying. Two, not everybody needs a machine in that specification. That is an absolutely insane machine, and a lot of people don't have a use case for it. I'm one of those people. I picked the M5 Pro MacBook Pro because it meets my needs. I upgraded from an M2 MacBook Air with 8 gigabytes of RAM and 256 gigs of storage. So let's be honest, anything would have been an upgrade over that machine. I went with this particular spec because I wanted to future-proof it a little bit. RAM prices right now in 2026 are insane. They're projected to get even worse. I know that Apple is going to release an updated MacBook Pro design probably later this year, maybe early next year. And with rumors being that that will receive a $400 to $600 price hike over this one at base, I did not want to pay an extreme price for this spec that I have right now of this machine. That's why I went with this one. If you guys wanna wait for that updated MacBook Pro, feel free. I'm sure the M6 will be the best chip they've ever made. It always is, you guys. So let me tell you about my workload, and you can kind of picture for yourself if this would be a good machine for you. Now, I'm a professional content creator, both for this channel and for a pretty major brand. And my work requires me to put together a lot of content in various forms. A lot of short form content, long form content. I do graphics work, I do copywriting, I do a little bit of everything. And I wanted a machine that could handle literally everything, not just today, but a few years down the road if necessary, and this fit the bill. So I went with 64 gigabytes of RAM. I wanted there to be plenty of headroom, and at the same time, if I don't use the full 64, and I end up selling it in a couple years, trading it in, what have you, this will have a better value long-term because it has so much RAM in it. A lot of recommendations I saw on Reddit when I was cross-shopping, when I was looking to see which spec I should buy, everybody said go for RAM because it can't be upgraded in the future, and it's one of the best things you can do to really stretch out the longevity of a device, especially a computer. So those are the specs that I went for, and let me tell you guys, this machine has been an absolute beast. Now we'll go over performance in a little bit. I want to cover design. Now this is my first MacBook Pro of this style, of this generation. My previous MacBook Pro was a Retina from 2012. It's been a very long time. Now, a lot of people are bored of the design of the MacBook Pro. That doesn't really make sense to me because as far as laptops go, this is pretty much perfect. You've got MagSafe, you've got Thunderbolt, you've got USB-C, you've got a headphone jack, of all things, you guys. You've got an HDMI cable, another Thunderbolt USB-C, you've got an SD card reader. All of the ports are really thought out well, and they're very useful. The only thing I could think of would be adding an Ethernet port but Apple did away with those so many years ago, I really don't think we'll ever see them make a return at this point. This is what Apple thinks Pro ports are, and I'm curious what you guys would like to see in the next MacBook Pro, so go and let me know in the comments. Now, let's talk about the finish. I went with Space Black, and I love how this looks. It looks really different under the studio lights. It's a very dark machine, which I appreciate, and honestly, I have not once regretted my decision. I've used silver MacBooks since forever, and I was ready to go for something different. So I picked up this guy, and fingerprints and stuff haven't really been an issue, although I do keep polishing cloths on deck. I would highly recommend either one of these. This one is the Cloth Pro Max from Snazzy Labs. This is Apple's polishing cloth. Both of them, great products. Pricing, this is $1 cheaper, this is $19, this is $18, and both of them clean the surface beautifully. You don't have to worry about scratching, anything of the sort. They'll clean the aluminum, the keyboard, the screen, they do everything. So keeping it clean has not been an issue, but if you get some pesky fingerprints on there, use one of these. There it is. Oh, my camera went a little crazy. Highly recommend these. 70% alcohol is the perfect blend. It will not damage the screen, I guarantee it. It won't discolor anything. It's the alcohol percentage that Apple personally recommends for cleaning their products. I think the finish has held up really well. Obviously, it's only a month old. Once this is like a year or two old, I'll definitely check back in with you guys and give you an update. But I haven't had any discoloring around the ports or anything of the sort. No finish rubbing off or anything like that. Everything is looking very good, as it should. So let's talk about design usability here. So again, going back to the point that I've never used this generation of MacBook Pro. And with me having no experience for this chassis, for the keyboard, for the trackpad essentially, this is peak laptop, I will say. Everything about this feels so dialed in and so nice to use. Even coming from an M2 MacBook Air, this is a clear upgrade over that machine. And before I picked up this MacBook, I had a MacBook Neo in for a review. While that is a very well-built machine, the difference between that and this are just night and day. So everything you do feels high-end on this machine. You're typing, it feels high-end. You're using the trackpad. You're dragging and dropping, you're clicking. Feels fantastic. Everything just feels good. I don't know how else to say it. It feels good, it feels luxurious. Everything is so fast and snappy. You'll see that here in a second, you guys. And performance has never been an issue with this machine. It flies through everything. I've got 6, 7 apps open at the same time. I had CapCut and Final Cut open at the same time yesterday while listening to music. Nothing, no issues. It was insane. So again, I know some people are tired of the design. It's been around for a while, but I will say it still holds up. There's literally nothing about this laptop that I would change. The screen, let's look at the screen. Guys, it is so bright and beautiful. The viewing angles are just phenomenal. The colors are great. Even handling light reflections, it does a surprisingly good job considering this is a glossy display. Now, I work in a pretty bright office. We've got some pretty bright overhead lights. It is not distracting in any way. I can work in any room of the office, not have an issue. Even if I'm editing darker video, glare is really not a problem. So if you're considering the glossy display, I would highly recommend it. But at the same time, go to an Apple store, take a look at both displays side by side, see which one's right for you. Personally, I went with glossy. I couldn't be more pleased. It works really well for the kind of work that I do. Highly recommend it. We can go ahead and touch on battery life, you guys. Battery life is excellent. Now, Apple quotes about 24 hours. That's with video streaming. Now, if you're video editing, if you're photo editing, you're doing graphic design, stuff that I do on a daily basis, it will last a full workday, no problem. Even having a drive plugged in, didn't have an issue with lasting a full day. On most days of like heavy video editing, when I'm editing like between 8 and 10 hours, I'll end the day maybe with like 30% battery, which is awesome to me. That's great battery life from a high performing machine. Like, I could not be more pleased with the battery. Battery is not an issue in any sense of the word. So let's talk about thermals. And the only time I've had the fans turn on is when I'm exporting video. And even then, it does not get extremely warm, which is very encouraging. It exports very quickly. So the longest project I've exported so far has been 20 minutes, and that's been a dual stream 4K video with plenty of effects, with music, titles, text, all that stuff. 1, it handled it like a champ. 2, it didn't get extremely warm, but the fans did spin up. I didn't get a decibel reading on the fans, but it was pretty quiet, and I was in a very quiet room at the time, and I had to pretty much like pick it up and put it next to my ear to hear the fans were running. So fan noise, not an issue. I know some people are concerned with the thermals of the 14-inch Pros versus the 16. I don't think that's an issue with the Pro chip. If you're going with a Max chip, I would recommend the 16-inch. That has better thermals. That chip uses more power. But if you're going with the Pro chip, the 14 is great. It's small, it's great for portability, it's very light, and I really appreciate the thinness of this machine. Again, coming from a Neo and a MacBook Air, I thought this was going to be big and heavy and a pain to carry around. It's not. I've taken this in my backpack every single day. I've carried it around with me at the office. Hasn't been an issue. The size is literally perfect, you guys. 14 inches is really just the sweet spot for laptops. And you got this big, beautiful display. The colors are so good. It's so smooth with 120 hertz. Just like zooming through web pages and everything is just a joy. And yeah, the screen is just phenomenal. I know they're gonna go to OLED, I believe, for the next MacBook Pro, but micro LED looks so good. Like, this is probably the most high quality screen I have in my entire house. It's beautiful, you guys. No complaints with the screen. I don't think I have an app on this computer that can push this to its absolute limit. We still have room. We can go further. I'm going to export a video on CapCut, and I am also going to export a file in Final Cut at the exact same time. You can hear the fans spinning up, the loudest I have ever heard them.